Welcome to the Daily Agenda, and I hope you enjoyed the live stream this morning with Kai Stevens, a thoroughly interesting young man and certainly a name for the future. In fact, I predict he will become a big name in British nationalism with the right guidance, and I'm sure he'll receive that in the Homeland Party and from other seasoned nationalists. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, and also to comment on the channel. It helps with the algorithm and it helps boosts our noticeability, which is what we want, isn't it? Is we need to draw in more people to the Daily Agenda for this real nationalist news network, quite frankly. I think we saw today, whilst talking to Kai, that I think we're on the right track, quite frankly, and but there's a whole lot more work to be done, and we're going to do that. And one of the things that I think needs to be done is to address some of these outstanding issues that keep cropping up in comments, some of which you can't see because they're so utterly appalling and abusive and packed with false and misleading allegations that they either get caught by the YouTube censor because the settings are strict, and others just don't get shown at all, and some of them do get through, and I actually remove them because they're not constructive, they're not rational, they're not credible, they're abusive, and they're false, and the channel is not for people of that nature, quite frankly. We don't want to encourage them, but what it does show, where are we now? It's Thursday night. Beautiful, sunny, hot night, in fact, here in rural Nottinghamshire. It's almost 30 centigrade. And not a flicker of breeze either, which makes it even hotter. Which is really nice, in truth, really nice. Let's make the most of it, that's what I say. Summer solstice is just 2 days away, and then the nights start drawing in. So yes, definitely make the most of it. But, and that's also a point with these shockingly bad comments. I mean, Kai mentioned one in the live stream this morning about Ian Stewart Donaldson. I mean, some of these people, and Kenny Smith actually does rightly call them the toxic old guard, they are the reason why the British National Party failed. They obviously congregated around Nick Griffin because he attracts toxicity, because he himself is toxic. And he exudes that toxicity into the world, and he's very good at, for example, accusing the Homeland Party of being an MI5 honey trap operation. The reason why? Well, twofold. First and foremost, there isn't a shred of substantiating, supporting evidence in favour of that allegation. It's just good old Griffin's clinical paranoia at work yet again. In fact, when is it not at work? This man claims to be a man of God. That God of his doesn't seem to be guiding him in the right direction, does it? Or maybe it is. But frankly, the toxic old guard, the reason why we don't want them in the new sensible nationalism is because, as I said this morning in the live stream, they're wreckers, they're destroyers, they're not builders, they're not constructive, they're not positive, they have nothing to offer other than the same old negativity, the same old defeatism, and they spew it forth into the public domain, and they inject it into everyone around them until an organisation, quite frankly, is stymied from within. That's what happened with the British National Party, the toxic old guard. And we're not going to allow it to happen again with the Homeland Party or any other nationalist organisation. If someone does want to allow it to happen, then that's their problem. I mean, take a look at Patriotic Alternative. It's absolutely infested with that toxic old guard mentality, and I don't want it on the Daily Agenda. I'm not going to have it. I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm not going to encourage it. I'm not a free speech absolutist. I'm a free speech expressionist. Quite frankly, there's a big difference. Free speech does not mean the right to post whatever false and misleading information you feel like, or to spout whatever abuse and threats you feel like, which is something the centre-right just can't get into their tiny little heads. And there's also a good percentage of nationalists that can't get it into their tiny little heads either. But they're going to have to get it into their tiny little heads, because they're not going to make any traction here. They're not going to get any headway. They're not going to be entertained, and they're not going to be embraced, because embracing toxicity, in truth, is tantamount to swallowing poison. Why would you want to do that, unless of course you were feeling suicidal or wanted to cause yourself serious harm? And we don't want to cause ourselves serious harm. We are the people in nationalism. We are the nationalists who have learned from all of the past mistakes, from, in essence, working or trying to work alongside toxic people with their toxic, corrupting, divisive agenda. And that's why we don't want to work with them, because that's all they do, is divide and conquer from within. And we don't want to game, because, you know, the hour is quite simply too late, really, I would say, in the day to entertain any more of these people. And so we have to be particularly ruthless at cutting them out. And if they don't like it, well, that's just too bad, isn't it? What matters more than anything else is the survival of nationalism, of the organisation, of the body politic itself, to ensure that we can build on a strong platform towards a successful future. That's what we want. We want success. We don't want negativity. And only positivity and pragmatic planning breeds success. Not all is lost. Oh, the sky is falling in. Oh, we've tried this before, we've tried that. Well, we've heard all of this negativity before. I mean, there was one woman on the channel a couple of weeks ago who said, I spent years campaigning, delivering leaflets, selling newspapers, canvassing, knocking on doors, etc., and all for nothing because the BNP collapsed. Well, we all know why the BNP collapsed, don't we? Because of the negativity and toxicity and corruption around Nick Griffin and his cabal. They're nothing now. The Christian Nationalist Party is a joke, quite frankly. It's just a pension plan for Griffin and Dowson. As I said before, I believe Jada Franson is genuine about it, but Griffin and Dowson, no, absolutely not. If they were genuine, they'd have been genuine about the British National Party. They would never have allowed it to destroy itself, or should I say, they would never have destroyed it in the way that they did. And this is why we are showing these people the door, so to speak. In fact, we're not even showing them the door. We're telling them that there's no way they're ever getting through the door. There is no room for them. They're not welcome. There's no place for them. We're not going to embrace them, as I said earlier. We want positive, hard-working nationalists to take forward the campaign, particularly for remigration, with a sensible and pragmatic attitude rooted in positivity, in a can-do, we can achieve, we will achieve mentality, not all the failures of the past. You know, people give up. And it's a shame, really, because all the people who put in so many years of hard work feel that that hard work has been wasted. And I'll tell you the truth, it has been wasted. It's been wasted because of their own defeatist mentality. You see, I've been through all of these things, 35 years of it. I don't suffer from that defeatist mentality. I will never allow that defeatist mentality to creep into my thinking in any way, shape or form. And that's the way it's been for 35 years. So if I can do it for 35 years, why is it that people who spent just a few years in the BNP now feel dejected, can't do it? And it's like I said to the guy last night, get a grip or get gone. That really is the case. Get a grip or get gone. Because if you can't get a grip on past failures and mistakes, then there is no future. There's no positive future. There's no point in you trying to be involved in nationalism, because you have nothing to offer nationalism other than the same old negativity, failure. I don't believe this will work. Well, we're not interested. We're not interested. It can't work for failures. It can't work for the defeated. We have no interest in them. That's something that they themselves need to come to terms with, and we can't do it for them. We're only interested in working with those who believe that we can win and want to make it win, and want the remigration campaign to succeed. And so, again, there is this warning from history, and it's recent history as well, you know, it's recent history, very recent history. The failure or the rise and fall of the British National Party. You know, don't look back in defeatist melancholy. Look back at where things went wrong and make a plan to put things right. And that's the way that I think and operate. And I think that's what many nationalists, I wouldn't say all nationalists, I simply can't be that generous. That would be overly charitable. I think most nationalists, in truth, are trying to do something positive, rooted in pragmatic campaigning. They've not succumbed to negativity and defeatism. And anyone who has, that's your problem. That's something you need to get to grips with. We're not going to do it for you. We're not here to counsel you. We're not here to give you a shoulder to cry on. We don't have time for that. Those people just need to get a grip of themselves, and if they can't, then they are no longer any productive value or use to nationalism, and certainly not to the remigration campaign. We want winners, people who believe in victory and can make victory happen. And so it may well seem like hard, harsh language to some people, particularly from a liberal conservative, as one of the toxic old god trolls said this morning. I'm definitely not a liberal conservative, I assure you. You know, absolutely not. I am 100% right-wing nationalist. And I would actually be a whole lot more affirmative about such matters were it not for the YouTube algorithm and other restrictions as well, I might add. And so these people who come up with these stupid slurs, they've never achieved a thing in their entire life. They've never achieved a thing in nationalism, and all they want to be involved in is like these sad little, it's like a sad little club for sad little people who just want to sit there and spit venom and spit acidic abuse at those who are trying to succeed, because they themselves failed and can never succeed, and they don't want to succeed, and they're never going to succeed. But we are going to succeed. Together we're going to succeed. And that's why we don't want the toxic old guard, because they're losers, they're failures. Their time has come and gone, and it's gone forever, and they're never coming back. And they're certainly not going to infiltrate any aspect of the new sensible nationalism, because we won't tolerate them. We will not tolerate them. And all this nonsense that you hear at the Heritage and Destiny meetings about we must stick together, absolutely the wrong thing to do. We cannot stick together with the toxic old guard that brought about decades, a litany of failure over decades. And that's all they have to offer, because they haven't learned anything. And all they're spewing to this day is the same old failure, the same old defeatism. Let's embrace one another. Let's stick together in our failure as we sink beneath the waves. Oh, give it a rest, will you? That's just childish claptrap. I've no time or tolerance for it. I won't embrace anyone at Heritage and Destiny. I do not consider them to be my old friend, as someone said. You know, and in terms of oath breaking, let me make this perfectly clear. Why is it that so many of these people still can't be honest about what happened on the 20th of January 1990? But the only person who has been honest about it, in actual fact, is Alistair Bullman. So if many can be honest about it, why is it all the rest of them have to lie about it, including Nick Griffin? Because they are the toxic old guard, and they have nothing to offer other than lies and corruption and gerrymandering, and above all, failure. What we are offering nationalists today is the possibility, the potential for success, for victory. And this is what nationalists need to ask themselves. Take a good look in the mirror in the cold light of day, and it's a beautiful day. Take a good long look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you want to win, or do you want to be part of some sad little club of failures? Well, I can tell you for a fact, we want to win, and that's the path that we're on. We're on the path of trying to win. We're not on the path of all the failures from the past. And the toxic old guard, they can stick to their failures. For them, it's over. All they've got left now is a few grifting operations, and we'll leave them to it, because the people who are in bed with them are also toxic, or part of that toxic old guard. They're completely redundant. They're no use to nationalism. They failed. They have nothing to offer. We have everything to offer. In the new sensible nationalism, we have everything to offer, and what we're offering people is victory. But we're not offering them a wholly unrealistic victory. It will take enormous hard work and self-sacrifice and self-financing. You know, and this is the point that we have to keep making. The money's not going to fall off one of these trees in the background. These aren't money trees, believe me. No, these are deciduous trees. Their leaves will fall in autumn. There's no money on them. You know, I'm not being sarcastic and I'm not being patronising. I'm simply saying that some people seem to think that everything's just going to be done for them. It's not. It's not going to be done for you. You have got to do it yourselves. That really is the essence of the matter. And that's another thing that people need to get to grips with. And if they can't, then they're lost. And there's nothing anyone can do for them. Nothing at all. Because let me tell you something. There's one thing I learned many, many years ago. In childhood, my father would tell me to do something, and I'd say, I can't do it, Dad. And he said to me, Simon, there is no such word as can't or cannot. Get it done. Make it happen. And I grew up with that attitude, and I've still got that attitude now. And that's why I don't allow all this defeatism to creep into my life. And I guess it all depends whether some people had good parents or bad parents. A bad parent to me is teaching a child to give up. My parents taught me never to give up, and I have no intention of giving up. And I'm battling with severe Crohn's disease as well, and I'm not sitting around whinging and whining about it, and saying, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. There's certain things I can't do physically, quite frankly, because of the major structural damage caused by Crohn's disease. But that said, what I can do is offer people hope, and I can offer them hope through the daily agenda, and with sensible, positive, pragmatic nationalism, taking forward the campaign for remigration. And I ask everyone with a like-minded attitude to join with us, and also to stand together in a shield wall, so to speak, and to keep out the toxic old guard, because if they are ever allowed to infiltrate our ranks, we will fail again. But we're not going to fail. We're going to succeed. We're going to succeed first and foremost in keeping the toxic old guard out. Once that's done, we can build on a much stronger foundation for the future to ensure that the remigration campaign succeeds. And quite frankly, let's be honest, remigration is now on vogue. It's entirely up to us to ensure that it becomes a household name, so that in future, when our canvassing teams are knocking on doors around the country, they'll be getting a warm welcome from voters who understand what remigration is, and then they can be explain it to them in a little more detail if that's what they want, and hopefully get them out at the ballot box and vote for remigration. Let's do something positive together. We can do it. We will do it, but we have to believe in it. And you have to ask yourselves, do you believe in victory? I believe in victory. Most definitely I believe in victory. But it's a few years away. It's a long battle ahead of us. A great deal of self-sacrifice. And anyone who thinks that they can just come into nationalism and there's going to be some glorious socio-political revolution within just a few months, you may as well go to the toxic old guard, because that's what they used to believe. And then they stop believing it, and they don't believe in anything now at all. All they believe in is spewing poison, toxins, and we're not tolerating any of that. What we're doing is promoting positivity, and that positivity is sensible nationalism. And in particular, we are promoting the remigration campaign to the nation, and that's what really matters. And I feel that is by far the biggest vote winner since the EU ref. Let's do it together. Thank you for your time.